UFC 279 was a night filled with upsets. The biggest upset of the night was when Khamzat Chimaev failed to make weight for his bout, missing weight on Friday and forcing Diaz to battle against Tony Ferguson while Chimaev obliterated Kevin Holland. But with Khamzat missing weight, where will his career head from here? What's next for this up-and-coming MMA superstar? What happened at UFC 279 that made it so special? UFC 279 took place in absolute chaos as Khamzat Chimaev missed weight on Friday, putting his bout with Nate Diaz in jeopardy. Diaz then stepped up to fight Tony Ferguson on Saturday in a bout that was nothing short of amazing. Diaz defeated Ferguson via submission in the 4th round, in what was one of the best fights of the year. Chimaev, on the other hand, made quick work of Kevin Holland, as he defeated him with little resistance. Talk about a villain origin story. Khamzat put the entire UFC 279 card in jeopardy, and then went out there and absolutely dominated his opponent. He's sure to be a fan favorite from here on out, but many fans are just as angry that he seemed to show a blatant disregard for the rules. After all, making weight in the UFC is no small feat, and Khamzat put the entire card in jeopardy by coming in overweight. It's a good thing that Nate Diaz found another opponent, because if he hadn't, UFC 279 would have been a complete disaster. So where does Khamzat's career go from here? Because of the recent events at UFC 279, it's hard to say where Khamzat's career will go from here. He was slated to fight Nate Diaz in the main event, but after missing weight, that bout was scrapped. Now it seems like Khamzat is going to have to continue his career searching for another opponent to fight. Chimaev is now the #1 contender for the middleweight title, and it looks like he might be next in line for a shot at the title. However, with Khamzat moving up to fight for this title, many are surprised to see that he might not quite make it yet. Even though a fight for the title is what many fans expect, Khamzat seems to have other ideas. In a recent post-fight press conference, Khamzat said that he would like to fight either Colby Covington or Robert Whittaker next. Of course, with Khamzat's recent antics, it's hard to say whether or not the UFC will actually allow him to fight either of these men. The UFC may make Khamzat work his way up the ranks again in order to prove that he is a changed man. With that being said, that doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, it's far more likely that Khamzat will face either Covington or Whittaker in his next fight. Only time will tell what the UFC has planned for Khamzat, but one thing is for sure, he's definitely a fighter to keep an eye on in the future. Why would Khamzat fight Colby Covington? Aside from the next level trash talk that Colby offers, such as his favorite nickname for Khamzat that borders on the NSFW, there is actually a reason that Khamzat would want to fight Colby. For one, it would be an excellent way for Khamzat to gain more exposure in the UFC. A fight with Colby would be a high-profile bout, and it would definitely help to increase Khamzat's popularity. In addition, a fight with Colby would also be a great way for Khamzat to prove that he is the best in the world. Plus, it doesn't seem like Dana White, Kamaru Usman, or even Leon Edwards want to give Khamzat a title shot just yet. So a fight with Colby could be the next best thing. These guys are going to be staging a rematch, and that might take quite a while to set up. Khamzat and Colby have been going back and forth for months now, and it doesn't seem like the feud is going to end anytime soon. In fact, it seems like these two are destined to have a match at some point in the future. Another fantastic point is that Dana White told reporters at the UFC 279 post-fight press conference that Khamzat is currently being considered for a fight with Colby. So it seems like this fight could actually happen, and soon. Why would Khamzat fight Robert Whittaker? Aside from the fact that Robert Whittaker is an excellent fighter, there are actually a few reasons why Khamzat would want to fight him. For one, this guy is a beast. Many people believe that Khamzat is on a sort of hype train right now, so a fight with Whittaker would be a great way for Khamzat to prove that he is the real deal. In addition, this fight would be a perfect setting if Khamzat moved up weight classes. Dana White was non-committal on whether Chimaev would fight at middleweight or welterweight following his weight miss. So a fight against Whitaker could be the perfect way to see where Khamzat truly belongs. Last but not least, the fan dynamic would be fascinating as well. Whitaker is one of the sport's most beloved good guys, and Chimaev established himself as the main event villain, even going so far as to give fans the bird after putting the entire UFC 279 card in jeopardy. Talk about a bad guy. Beyond this, Whitaker is a seriously powerful dude. He's arguably the most well-rounded fighter in the sport and has turned back every middleweight not named Israel Adesanya. His incredibly powerful defensive wrestling could present a real challenge for Chimaev and might even prove to be too much for Khamzat to handle. So what's next for Khamzat Chimaev? Only time will tell what's next for Khamzat Chimaev. He's a fighter who is on the rise, and he's definitely someone to keep an eye on in the future. It's possible that Khamzat will get a title shot in his next fight, but it's also possible that he will have to face either Colby Covington or Robert Whitaker first. Either way, it's going to be an exciting ride, and any of these matchups are going to be filled with incredible banter, smoke, and fire. With that being said, there's even a chance we'll see a rematch between Khamzat and Nate Diaz, even though Diaz is now retired from the sport. Stranger things have happened in the world of MMA, so never say never. There's been some serious beef and drama between these two guys, and a rematch would definitely be one for the ages. So if you're a fan of Khamzat Chimaev, be sure to keep an eye on him in the future, because this guy keeps doing things people don't expect. Wait, what's going on between Khamzat and Diaz? Well, it all started when Khamzat missed weight for their planned fight at UFC 279. This put the entire card in jeopardy, as Diaz was forced to find a new opponent on short notice. That's the kicker though. Khamzat doesn't think he was forced to find another opponent. In fact, Khamzat claims he offered Diaz his entire purse if he would agree to fight him, even though Khamzat was overweight. However, Diaz refused, and the fight was scrapped. This led to a lot of bad blood between Khamzat and Diaz, and it doesn't seem like this feud is going to end anytime soon. It's pretty impressive if true though. I mean, Khamzat's purse was worth about $2 million. So it's pretty crazy to think that he would have been willing to give all of that up just to fight Diaz. But alas, the fight didn't happen, and Khamzat was left to face Kevin Holland instead. And as much as I'm sure everybody liked that fight, it just wasn't as good as the Khamzat versus Diaz fight would have been. It ended far too quickly, and nobody expected Holland to be any competition for the monster that is currently Khamzat Chimaev. This guy is on an absolute tear right now, and it doesn't seem like anybody is going to be able to stop him. Holland definitely wasn't able to. If Khamzat's first round submission was anything to go by, the guy destroyed Holland, and nobody was surprised, at least not by that victory. If Khamzat wants to truly show his strength, he's going to have to take on somebody stronger than Holland, and that just might be Colby Covington. So what's the overall takeaway here? In the meantime, Khamzat is going to have to continue his career without a fight against Nate Diaz. It's a shame, because that would have been an incredible fight, but alas, it was not meant to be. That was Nate Diaz's last fight in the UFC, and although he might come back in the future, it definitely seems like it's over for now. There's no question that Nate Diaz was a UFC legend, so it's pretty upsetting to see him go out without battling against Khamzat. But then again, some people think that would have been a pretty unfair matchup. Khamzat is still on the rise though, and he's got all the potential in the world. So there's no doubt that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward. Who knows, maybe he'll even get a chance to take the title, which could be pretty cool. That's it for now though. Go ahead and discuss this in the comments section below. Let us know your thoughts on Khamzat and his future career, and we'll see you in the next one.